Are your people working hard but not reaching their full potential? The problem is not effort, it is development. At the Modern Observer Group, we transform workforce development into real performance. Our human-centered achievement programs help your team think better, communicate stronger, and execute at a higher level. That means higher employee engagement, stronger leadership, and measurable results across your organization. If you want a workforce that performs, leads, and delivers, it is time to invest in your people. Visit modernobserver.com and discover how the Modern Observer Group helps you build a workforce that wins.
Airport lines shrink, gas prices spike, the first moon mission in over 50 years, and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and here's the news you need to know. Security lines dwindled at U.S. airports Monday, clearing the worst bottlenecks as Transportation Safety Administration officers began receiving back pay for working during the government shutdown. Checkpoint lines that at times stretched to 4 hours at Houston's George Bush Intercontinental Airport shrank to waits of 10 minutes or less on Monday. In other previous trouble spots, such as Atlanta and Baltimore-Washington International Airport, travelers were moving smoothly to their flights. After weeks of airport chaos, there was finally optimism for the beleaguered aviation system. The House passed a bill to fund all of the Department of Homeland Security that Senator Chuck Schumer says Democrats will oppose when it reaches the Senate. A ballistic missile fired from Iran entered Turkish airspace on Monday and was shot down by NATO defenses in the fourth such incident reported since the start of the U.S.-Israeli war on Iran. There was no immediate comment from Tehran, which has denied specifically targeting its neighbor Turkey during the conflict and has said it was not involved in the previous 3 missile launches, which were all downed by NATO defenses. NATO spokesperson said the alliance intercepted an Iranian missile heading towards its member country Turkey, adding that it was prepared for such threats and will always do what is necessary to defend all allies. Iran has fired missiles at countries across the Middle East since the start of the conflict, striking oil infrastructure and bases with U.S. forces in the region. President Trump warned Monday that if a deal isn't reached shortly and the Strait of Hormuz isn't reopened, the U.S. will destroy all of Iran's power plants, oil wells, and Karg Island infrastructure he said the military has purposefully not yet touched. Hundreds of Navy SEALs, Army Rangers, and other special operations forces have quietly arrived in the Middle East, joining thousands of Marines and 82nd Airborne paratroopers, giving the president military options, including ground raids in Iranian territory. Trump said his preference would be to take Iran's oil and separately confirmed the U.S. is negotiating with Iran's parliamentary speaker, Mohammad Bagher Khalibaf, a former Revolutionary Guard commander who has denied any talks are taking place. U.S. gasoline prices have surged above $4 per gallon for the first time in more than 3 years, as the oil supply shock triggered by the Middle East war rapidly drives up costs for families. Prices at the pump hit a nationwide average of just over $4, the highest level since August 2022, when Russia's war against Ukraine shook energy markets, the travel association AAA said. Gas prices have soared more than 30% since the U.S. and Israel attacked Iran in late February, according to AAA data. We foresee potential for a disruption to the American fuel supply, Lee Zeldin, head of the Environmental Protection Agency, told reporters at S&P Global's CERAWeek conference in Houston last week. The EPA is temporarily lifting some regulations to increase gas supplies in an effort to ease prices. Meanwhile, Fed Chair Jerome Powell said that although energy prices are rising due to the war in Iran, it probably won't force the central bank to hike interest rates to curb inflation. He noted that such price shocks are usually short-lived and that the Fed's tactics typically won't take effect until they're already over. So changing rates in response to them would only make sense if the price spikes cause the public to start expecting higher prices over time. Financial markets seemed reassured by the remarks, and traders stopped pricing in a significant chance of a rate increase this year, according to CNBC. NASA's Artemis 2 mission is set to launch Wednesday at 6:24 p.m. Eastern Time, sending 4 astronauts on a 9-day trip around the moon for the first time since Apollo 17 in 1972. Forecasters give an 80% chance of favorable weather. Commander Reed Weissman, a widower and father of 2 teenagers, is leading the crew alongside pilot Victor Glover, mission specialist Christina Koch, and Canadian astronaut Jeremy Hansen. The mission will carry the crew roughly 4,700 miles past the far side of the moon, farther than any human has ever traveled, with portions of the lunar surface never seen by human eyes firsthand visible from the capsule windows. That's the Raw Naked Truth for March 31st, 2026. You can catch every episode of the Raw Naked Truth Daily News Brief, as well as our sister podcast, Carnivore Radio, with news analysis and commentary, and the rest of the Xvadio Podcast Network at xvadio.com, the Apple Podcast app, YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and other platforms that respect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.